Alright, another dumb as a stumpla day video. Yay! Come on, with the right mental attitude, we can make this fun. Come on. It'll be fun. That's incorrect, actually. But anyway, let's pretend. Come on. A little bit of pretending will be okay. So, Holiday, I don't know, he's made, whatever. A couple of idiotic videos. I haven't even finished the other one because it's just so hard to hit that button. And he's a compulsive liar. A cliche compulsive liar. Man, he just can't make an honest statement. So anyway, so in this video, so through this little part here, all this little beginning part here, he just makes a bunch of lies, just lie, about my own life testimony, about my own, like somehow it's unbelievable that I explain that, yeah, I was a kid and I asked people questions like, what the fuck are we doing here? What's going on? And they gave me some silly story about fucking Easter rabbits and Santa Claus and fucking God. And I was like, what? That's it? That's you people you're buying this? Huh? What? And he doesn't find that believable. And then I'd go outside and I'd see the little other life forms roaming about. And it would cause me some pause to see the three-legged dog. And it would cause me some pause when everybody was just going around stomping on everything in sight. Perfectly viable little living organisms, and they were just getting crushed, killed, and destroyed all over the place. And then that would give me some pause about exactly what the fuck am I doing here? I just don't have the feet for this stomping stuff. It's just not in me. I'm just not a person that just loves crushing things for no good fucking reason. I mean, I'm just saying these memories are in my memory because these are lessons, life lessons. Where you say, what the fuck is this shit? My cliche date with Allison, the 6-year-old next door, sitting in the Easy Bake Oven kitchen porch thing in my chair, contemplating what I'm going to do this. This is what people call living. Silly person in the little fucking iron dress makes an easy bake cupcake, and I sit in the chair and go, what? Yummy, yummy, good? No! This isn't, yeah, so anyway, I'm saying, these are all memories. I remember the day Kennedy, right, the younger, drove his girlfriend off the bridge. And I remember it being on the radio, and I'm in the car, me and my father going fishing, and it took like an hour to get there. To Lake Shithole or whatever. But anyway, I remember hearing, listening to the radio, and that story just bugged the fuck out of me. Because it was like, oh, so even the president's brother is not immune from disaster. And you people are all okay with this. I was like, oh, she's dead, he almost got drowned, and you're all okay with this. Because I didn't find it okay. I was like, whoa, I'm in a car driving over a lake. You get me? So yeah, I had lots of pause. So I just find it so offensive to say there's something ungenuine about my explanation of how, from every conscious moment I can remember on this planet, I have never, ever felt at peace. Like this is a safe, wonderful place. No, every single conscious memory is one of what the fuck. The first contemplation I can remember is looking out the fucking window in wet fucking diapers and just going, what the fuck? Where the fuck am I? And that feeling's never gone away. That perception, that what's the answer to this riddle? It always seemed like a riddle. This is a test of some kind, right? This can't be real. When I was 9 years old and a little bit psychotic, I slept in my closet because I thought the aliens were watching. Because what else could I conclude? This was too stupid to be real. It had to be some sort of engineered false fake thing, because nothing could be this ludicrous. Everybody just walks around and keeps saying everything's okay, everything's okay, when the earth is shaking and buildings are falling down. All right, well, anyway, so to call me less than sincere or genuine, fucky Yui. Yeah, fuck you so hard, you fucking lying pig. Anyway, so let's just start around here.
That's the simple logic. That's the simple, the definitional attachments between the words.
Yeah. Oh, he keeps doing that nose rubbing.
Annihilation of all life on Earth.
So it's even to this thing, like every microbe and every blah blah blah, and I've already explained that, frankly, I don't think you have to go that deep. Our brains didn't evolve twice. Neurons didn't evolve twice. There's no other sentient mechanism. There's one, made out of neurons. So frankly, if you kill everything with a neuron, you probably will prevent the existence of intelligent life on Earth. Sentient life.
And it can. If you decide that nail in the eye, pain, bad, suffering, pain equals mattering equals, and mattering means remove.
Yes, it's a significant event, and then even when you think how many videos I've made about sameness, and he's making this argument. Somehow I haven't made the argument. I haven't explained, and I have explained it. My feelings are not anything unique. They're not special. They are. That's happening in the sentient brains of all the other sentient creatures. And it's just idiotic for me to say it's significant here and it's not significant there. It's idiotic by definition, by logical obligation. You can only describe that as idiotic. If you're making a distinction when there's no evidence for distinction, that's idiotic.
That's the simple logic. That's the simple, the definitional attachments between the words. Pain, by inmendham's definition,
is bad.
Means remove. And somehow
justify. It doesn't mean just remove, but yeah, it has to be justified. You have to do something of actual merit to justify it. And the only thing of real actual merit is probably eliminating some greater pain. So you can have pain if you're eliminating bigger pain. That makes sense.
So, an explanation he never fully gets to.
So, I mean, that's just such an insane lie, right? I mean, I've made every fucking effort to deal with your imbecilic lack of capacity to understand conceptually this simple, as you just described it, argument. And, I would just direct people to search my videos on the word same. I had to make a whole series of videos explaining why same things should be treated samely. I had to do that for this idiot. And then he'll sit there and say somehow I haven't done these things. Because he's a compulsive liar.
Is how my want to remove my pain is somehow an obligation to remove another person's pain.
No, your want doesn't have anything to do with it. It's the logical understanding. So if you're logically removing your pain, that the same logical obligation exists when the pain exists in another brain. It is exactly the same thing. So if your intention is to remove your pain, and your intention is not some other silly intention, the pain, if you've identified it as a bad thing, worthy of removal, it's just as worthy of removal when it's happening to someone else. The broken leg is the enemy. The broken leg is the thing in need of correction, so to speak. It doesn't matter which individual possesses it. It's irrelevant. Is meaningless information. It has no meaning. The only thing that means something is there's a soldier injured on the battlefield. Whether his name is Joe or Jim or Bill doesn't fucking matter.
And that isn't to say I like seeing other people in pain. That isn't to say that I don't feel an emotional want to remove other people.
And again, I have been so clear, correct? I'm not making an appeal to your feelings. I don't care whether you feel something. I've argued that by tendency, human beings' feelings are very bigoted. Okay, they have a huge bias towards their own family or their lovers or whatever, the people they're associated with, so it is intrinsically corrupted. So I really rather you didn't rely on feelings to identify problems. I would rather, as I've deliberately and explicitly stated and explained, I would rather you apply logic. Not, something else, not, psychologic, not psychology, okay? But you apply something reason. You apply the evidence to the circumstance, and that you just acknowledge the existence, the fact that it is clearly important that you not be tortured, and that importance exists in the rest of the environment. I've made every effort to make that clear, to say it in enough ways that you can understand it, and yet you keep claiming you haven't heard it. Not that you're making a counter-argument to it, you're claiming you haven't heard me make the argument. Fuck you, liar.
That's a different question.
Well, again, it's not the question I'm using as an argument. I really don't care what you feel about your philosophy. I care whether your philosophy has any logical integrity versus psycho-logic.
Inmendham thinks he has an abundance of evidence in support of his philosophy.
Yes, in support of the fact that there's no intrinsic difference between one sentient and another sentient, that there's no reason to make distinction between this feeling brain and this feeling brain because you like the name of this one and you don't like the name of that one, or this one's the right color and that one's the wrong color. That kind of bullshit is worse than bullshit. That's really like cockroach shit.
And yet he has none. You see,
I have no evidence to support the theory that same equals same. Oh yes, I do.
he will cite evolution, and that those that don't subscribe to his philosophy are blind to the truth of evolution.
Yeah, well, I'm just sorry. It is a fact. I mean, if you're not going to recognize that you don't have a special consciousness, that you're not a god or some other kind of special being who's manifesting feelings in some special way that makes your feelings matter and other people's feelings not matter, yeah, you're really, 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 really dumb.
And yet, this evidence is
And let's understand, the contention is that evolution is a crude, stupid force. It is not an intelligent designer. It doesn't have any knowledge of pain and suffering. It doesn't have any capacity to develop any recognition of Well, that would be a horrible waste. It doesn't understand those concepts. It doesn't have a brain. It's a dumb force, guided by the crudest logic possible, which is psychologic.
Is the consequence of the value system, right? He doesn't understand that this is after the assumptions about value and what counts as value.
Well, they're not assumptions, they're conclusions based on evidence. I've personally been conscious, so again, you can keep claiming that I've acquired no knowledge by being conscious. I have acquired knowledge by being conscious. And so yes, I've just acknowledged what is plainly obvious, that there's good feelings and bad feelings, and there's no reason to not apply that knowledge to the context of creation.
Hold inmendham's value system, and you can turn to evolution and say, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. This is death and destruction.
It's torture is what it is, okay? I don't really care about death and destruction. I care about torture. It's full of torture, asshole.
Pointless.
I mean, torture just isn't the kind of thing you rinse and repeat. You know what I mean? You learn from it. And you say, holy shit, that was bad. Let us not do that again.
But without the value system, you don't have...
Of course, without the value system, nothing has value. So there's no reason to look at anything. There's no reason to ask a question. Why? Because it's irrelevant. Because there's no value at stake. So of course, without values, there's no interpretation. And so if you value something like leather boot, well, evolution isn't... You can't apply the value of, the leather boot. You can't apply it to evolution. It doesn't mean anything in any kind of context. It's not a sentient organism. You're just valuing a thing that's just a manufactured boot. And evolution's not going to be relevant to that story. But it's clearly, evolution is highly relevant to the development of a psychology capable of manifesting sentient experience that has qualitative impact and significance of good and bad. That's very different. So if the boot was sentient and it was created by evolution, then evolution would be a relevant thing to look at. You don't understand that? We're not boots. We're monkeys. So put a monkey in the hand, and now all of a sudden, evolution's going to be relevant. Oh, jeez, they're so fucking stupid.
Any eyes in which to weigh this as evidence. And in that way, this evidence counts for nothing.
Right. So it means nothing that our Creator was dumb as a stick. So if I proved there was a God, and then I showed he had no IQ. None. No problem. Yeah. Let's elect a president with no IQ. Oh, wait a minute. We're going to do that, aren't we? Amazingly stupid, I'd say. Amazingly stupid. I mean, it's just, you can't, what's stupider, right? The zero IQ president or the assholes who elected him?
Bending the actual value system, you see.
Oh boy, you sure got me with that, right? No. Sorry. That was just a little kind of fart. Not even close to impact.
Of the countless thousands of videos you've made.
Oh, they are countable, no doubt. So that's probably a bit of an exaggeration.
So many of them are just repeats.
Yes, because you insist on me repeating them because you lie about what has been done. And so then I pointed out even clearer, and then I pointed out even clearer. Like this video, I have again stated I have no interest in your fucking feelings. I don't care what you feel philosophically. Philosophical feeling is a non sequitur. It's a oxymoronic kind of thing. We don't feel logically. We think logically. Shithead.
On the horror he sees by his value system of evolution.
Yes, the imbalanced equation. This is true. It's not making a profit. It's not worthy of repeating. Yeah, you do it once and say, ouch, that hurt. And you say, let's not do that again. No more baby elephants eaten alive. Because we're frankly not worth it.
The awfulness of suffering in his personal life.
Lie again. I've pointed out many times that I've been incredibly lucky. And even so, even though I have been incredibly lucky, I wouldn't rinse and repeat my sister dying of cancer for 5 years. I would say, no, you don't do that twice. Once is more than enough. My grandfather in the nursing home. Yeah, well, 10 years of that. No, let's not repeat that one. Yeah. So I've had very good, and I'm smart enough to figure out you don't do this twice. Or 3 times. Or billions of times. It's stupid.
The horror of other people's suffering.
Which, like, again, is just apparent in the world. You just take a tiny little, just open your eye a little bit and look out the window. Ouch. A lot of ouch going on out there.
Well, and by his value system, he only weighs that horror. No.
Well, whatever. Lie again. But regardless, I'm saying go ahead and make an argument. So if you want to make a pro-life argument, you want to explain how your need to gamble at the casino is worth drunk driving to get there, well, go ahead and explain it to me.
Everything else has counterweight. By somebody else's value system, take my father, my uncle, both died horrifically, cancer, a great deal of suffering in the end month.
Again, you're going to sit there and compare philosophies, and yet you're not going to show me how these philosophies have any logical foundation. So if they're based on their belief in God, well, then they're null and void, aren't they? Those are fake values. Those are not real things that are going to happen. There will be no heaven. There'll be no redemptions. There'll be no blah, blah, blah. So all of their premises are lies, so their conclusions are obviously mush. I mean, your insistence that I respect value systems merely because somebody possesses it as if it's some sort of human right to be wrong. No, you have no human right to be an imbecile. You have no human right to be a psycho. It's just a fact. And if I can demonstrate that you're a psycho, then I have no obligation to respect your philosophy, shithead.
Not a one of them would showed inclination of regret and wishing to go 1 minute earlier than they did.
Well, he's going to qualify that statement now, so that really didn't mean anything. So let's just pretend he didn't say that, because now he's going to unsay it. Oh, wait a minute, I was lying. yeah. Okay, got it. Whoops, the old lie slipped out again, did it?
Maybe 1 minute earlier, but within a day, when they knew the time's come, they was happy to be on their way, for sure. So a bit of hyperbole from me, though.
Yeah.
Not lying.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, you fixed it, but I'm just saying, again, what's the argument? I'm supposed to say they're doing that because they're not afraid of dying? They're not, you know what I'm saying? You're not explaining why that this psychology of their perception that this is really worth it is based on anything rational or reasonable. are sensible, are logical. If they're as dumb as you, I can only assume that their philosophy is so vacant of any kind of proportionality that they have no regrets because they're not capable of forming an acknowledgement that they stepped on plenty of shit in their life and they caused plenty of fucking goddamn harm that they'd like to be able to clean up and they can't. So you're saying they won. They were winners in life. The planet was a better place because of them. And you have some evidence of that? I don't think you do.
The day before my father died, there was issue about removing a treatment, and my dad said, "No, I'd like to go home and have another pint of beer."
Yeah, well, okay. I mean, so you couldn't have made my argument any better, right? We're talking about psychology, and you're just explaining to me how clearly he was a lunatic. Because he said, go ahead, pour some more delusional juice down my fucking gullet. I can't live in reality. And right up to the minute I'm dying, the only thing I can think about is getting some more of the delusional juice. And this is a philosophical argument that has some weight. The testimony from compulsive drunkard is now relevant. The most important thing on my diet, I'm going to waste neurological moments in the process of dying talking about beer. There's nothing else in my life worthy of conversation. Beer. And this is a persuasive argument of a value system that I'm supposed to respect and think has some sort of profound, meaningful merit. The beer lovers. Fuck.
Yeah. So he's still viewed, I mean, you know inmendham's statement here is, this is psychology.
Yeah, exactly. A fucked up one, frankly. Really, I'm going to waste my last moments on Earth talking about great old, good old beer. Fuck.
But that's his value system, right?
Yeah, fucked hard.
Weigh suffering only, and anybody else's value system, whether they be psychological or neurological.
Well, I don't know why. It has to be neurological, so I guess you just made a mistake there, right? Because both psychology and logic are neurological functions. But yes, my argument would be that it makes a difference whether it is psychology that drives somebody, addictions, compulsive needs to, be deceptive. Delusions about gods and spirits and souls and all that kind of crap, or whether it's fucking logical and fact-based. Yeah, those are two different things. Psychology and rational philosophy are not the same thing. Durr.
And are the two really different?
Yes, profoundly different. How do you get this old and not know that? Fuck.
You see, so the key point is that these evidences are after the assumption, and this is why he begs the question.
Well, they're not assumptions. Again, they're conclusions, and the fact that there's a context. You ask the question why. Well, guess what? The answer is going to be part of the creative process, the mechanical process that built the thing. If you're asking why does the clock keep time, you have to explain how clocks got made. And so you explain how sentience exists, and then you can explain why it has a psychology, and then you can explain why it has this capacity to do logic, and why these two things are not the same thing. Shit. I mean, that's the answer. Nature didn't give you eyeglasses. Nature didn't do that. All right? Some sort of sensible response, a logical response to inadequacies in the creative design is why you have them.
When you question his value system, and his value system again, we'll repeat it, through intelligence sees it. Yeah, is through the testimony.
Well, again, it's not the testimony. It's not a dogmatic statement. It's through the rational part that you're saying is somehow illegitimate. The idea that you answer the question why by explaining the process of creation and the flaws in it. There's no other way to explain why the clock isn't working than to explain how the clockmaker was drunk. I mean, fuck. It's a key reason. Why is Candy's girlfriend dead at the bottom of the river? Well, you explain it by explaining why. Well, because Kennedy was drunk and he drove the car off the bridge. Duh.
Somebody made a comment about, it wasn't to me, but maybe it was, I don't know, but recently, saying, oh, so you're happy, or you think it's okay for unnecessary suffering.
You think it's okay for unnecessary suffering. Okay, there we go. So, and his answer is?
No.
Yes. I'm sorry. You can't. You're making the argument, shithead. You're saying it's okay. Rinse and repeat. You're saying keep doing it. That's what you're advocating, you retard. You can't say you're against something when you're fucking paying for it to be done, you dumb shit. God damn. I mean, it's just so stupid.
But that's not the question at issue here.
Yeah, it is the question at issue. You're either for it or you're against it. This isn't complicated, shithead.
Yeah,
I mean, it either is not unacceptable or it is acceptable. You don't get this? Fuck.
The issue is the difference between a logical statement and whether one is got feelings about certain things.
Well, again, to make that argument in this context just makes you, again, that you're an insane liar. Because I have been advocating for that very same thing. I don't want people to be feeling their way through life. I've said those exact words in previous videos. It's not the intelligent organ. The emotional sensations are not your most intelligent element. Okay, you inform your intelligence through the capacity to feel, not what you feel. Jesus, you're just such an idiot.
Emotional statements.
Again, how is it an emotional statement to accept that broken leg is a bad thing, and it's equally bad when it happens to me or somebody else? Where's the emotion in that statement, fuckhead? There's no emotion in that statement, you fucking lying piece of shit.
So yeah, intelligence sees it. Intelligence sees it. A 6-year-old can see it. Nail in the eye, different. Cupcake, different. Nail in the eye, different. Like.
Well, quite obviously this is true, so I'm just saying yes. And now the question is whether our desire for a cupcake has any merit as anything other than an addiction, and whether this nail in the eye can at all be ever justified as something you keep accepting as a price paying for cupcakes. Torture, in my opinion, is not an acceptable price. It just, this isn't that complicated. You're not allowed to torture things that you never got permission from for the sake of anything you want to do. It's just not a viable way to do something. You're just not entitled to do that unless you're stopping double torture.
Bead. Ruler. Like there's some in the difference.
So he's comparing a bead and a ruler to the sensations coherent to cupcake and the sensations coherent to a nail in your eye. And he's saying that the difference between a bead and a ruler is the same as the difference between torture and pleasure. He's done this before, but I mean, you can see that that's just an insane comparison, correct? I mean, insane? I mean, it can't possibly get anything close to anything meaningful because they're not in any way similar comparisons. I mean, what's an analogy? It's like comparing how high you jump to what you scored on an SAT. It doesn't make any sense.
The nature of difference is a conclusion to anything.
Well, clearly, when you establish the existence of quality, that means value, then yes, the difference matters. But if it's not a value difference, if there's no difference in value or quality, if the universe remains the same, regardless of it's all ruler or it's all bead, then there's nothing to discuss. But there's still something to discuss if the difference is cupcakes for everyone or nail in the eye for everyone. That conversation is a hell of a lot more important. It's different. Completely different.
Anyway, I thought I'd knock off this little video before preparing my little...
Yeah, right. Make some more lies. Before I made some more lies, I thought I'd lie some more. Because I'm a liar. Yeah, you're just such a compulsive liar. So anyway, look, whatever it is. Ignorant slut. You know, Athena Hensley Cobb. She's some sort of, whatever, West Virginian or something. Anyway, some kind of poofter image she has now. What is that anyway? I don't know. A tree grows in Arkansas or something. Anyway, what did she say here? Love of all music and unending curiosity about physics, psychology, and art. Oh, it's all unending. So anyway, let's just put this one in context. She has a daughter tattooed with marijuana poetry who's in jail. So, I mean, do we have it? I mean, you know, cliche ignorant slut. And so the cliche from the cliche ignorant sluts hit the proverbial nail on the head. Yay! Says the proverbial ignorant slut. Brilliant. So it's good to have the proper counter testimony to more substantially prove my point. All the ignorant sluts agree with Holiday. Okay, I think we're done now. I mean, I could do some of the other video, but there's just no point, right? I mean, I've been there and done this, and been there and done this, and there's just no fucking point. He is impervious to reason. And sadly, will go to his little choking death, a deluded retard. Too bad. You know, but the sooner the better, I can at least say that.